Just a quick little PSA. We have two upcoming live shows. The live shows are on October 9th, 2021 for New York Comic Con, and October 17th, 2021 for DC Fandom. And both of those will be available on our profile on Spreaker if you go to bit.ly/TMRPC. Again, that's bit.ly/TMRPC. If you want to support the show, the best way you can is through any of the books or current ongoing Vela shorts that are being released on a regular basis. The easiest way to find this is to go to bit.ly/TMRbooks, and you'll have links there to everything. All of my Kindle books are available for free. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you don't have to pay anything. You get it with your subscription. You can read them all. They're all in screenplay format. That includes Swan Song, The Muses, Duet, In the End, Our Past Does Not Define Us. Anything else that I've written that's available on Kindle, it's available there. You can buy a soft cover if you want. There's a hardcover collection of all of the Swan Song books, all combined into one. That's available as a hardcover. You can pre-order Echo Alpha, which is coming out in November. All of these things are available if you go on Amazon. But quick link, if you go bit.ly/TMRbooks, I have them all there, nice, easily cataloged. Also, down toward the bottom, we have the Kindle Vela content. The first 3 episodes are always free, and then after that, there's a token system that you can use to read. Even if you don't like it, just give it a thumbs up. That way we can get it up higher so more people see it. So one final time, that's bit.ly/TMRbooks, and every Wednesday there's a new Vela book that goes up. Taser and Acrobat, Nanite and Rosebud, Tales from Another World, and The Alchemist and the Illusionist. All go up on Wednesdays, and it's all available on Kindle Vela. All of this is available bit.ly/TMRbooks. Welcome to Beware of Spoilers. I am Adam. Let's talk about No Time to Die, the latest entry in the James Bond pantheon of movies. I'm not expecting much. I don't think that you need a movie of this length, 2 hours and 45 minutes, to say goodbye to Daniel Craig. I feel like there's a lot that, this is going to waste time on. And for the record, in case you forgot, I did like Spectre. I did really like Spectre back when that came out. Maybe I was in the minority on that, and I think I was in the minority on that, but I loved Christoph Waltz's Blofeld. I loved, the kind of it kind of tried to have its cake and eat it too, with the like the silliness of the old Bond and the gadgets and all that kind of cool stuff. Where it's when you look at Skyfall, it's here's your gadget, it's a gun. It takes some of the fun out of it, and it's well, it's an espionage movie where he's supposed to be able to get in, and be subtle about it. And here's a gun, felt kind of weird about that. And Skyfall is a great movie, but that was something that kind of, caught me. And I think that when we talk about No Time to Die, I feel like it's going to take some of that weirdness, or the camp and all of that, try to mix it with the what's it called? The well choreographed action. And I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I have this thing with James Bond where I prefer my espionage movies of any type to be kind of standalone, where I don't need to have seen everything that came before it to understand what's happening here. One of my favorite action movies in recent history was Mission Impossible Fallout, which had some really great action, some really cool, sequences and all that stuff. But I don't think that you didn't need to have seen all of the Mission Impossible movies prior to that to understand what's going on in that movie. It all kind of makes sense in a very easy to understand way where anyone can walk in off the street and see that. To an extent, you couldn't do that really with Spectre, and this one seemed like another one where you can't walk in and be like, I know generally what James Bond is, but you need a deeper understanding to be able to get this movie, and I feel like that's something that's going to be happening with this, and I don't particularly like that. Not just for myself, but for other people too. So I do like Lashana Lynch. I'm interested to see where she goes. She was interesting. She was an interesting character in Captain Marvel. I don't think we need the continuation of Leia Seydoux, I think her name is, or Seydoux. I don't know how to pronounce her name. She's French. I don't think we need that. Continuing on. Yeah, I'm like, let's just see how this movie is. So we'll be back with that after this. So I have now seen No Time to Die. I'm in the minority on this because I did look up what the critic consensus was on Rotten Tomatoes and on Metacritic, and I don't know. Like, am I just stupid? Like, I'm watching this movie and it's like, I've seen the prior ones. I've seen Quantum Solace. I've seen Casino Royale. I've seen Spectre. I've seen Skyfall. And then they end it with this, and this is the last one. And they end it in a way where this is Daniel Craig's last. There is no coming back from this one. With what happened in the end. But it's like they bloated this movie so much, and it could have been 2 movies. Like, if there's one thing that audiences don't mind, it's sitting through a 2-part movie if it culminates a story. Like, Mockingjay Part 1, Part 2 made a ton of money. Harry Potter Parts 1 and 2. Breaking Dawn Parts 1 and 2. Infinity War and Endgame is a 2-part movie. So, like, we as an audience have no problem sitting through 2 movies to get the story told in the best way possible. But, like, I don't know. Did I miss something? Or, like, did they get to the 3rd act and that's when they explain what the plan is? Like I don't get it. I don't get how you can get in this, because it's like, here's the thing about this movie. Like, I'm going to run you through the general plot points of this movie, and like I feel like I'm the only one who's like okay, so movie opens with, a backstory from Madeline, who's the girl from the last movie, whose dad was the bad guy in Quantum of Solace. Yeah, she's not Mads Mikkelsen's daughter, she's the other guy's dad. So we know her dad works for Spectre, and Spectre is a combination of the bad guys of the first 2 movies and then the 4th movie. So we see the backstory, and we see that Rami Malek saves her, like, kills her mother, but then spares her, and not spares her specifically as much as the daughter shoots him, or the girl Madeline shoots him, runs out of the house, and then falls through the ice, and then rather than killing her, he saves her by pulling her out of the ice. That's kind of how the movie cold opens. Then we cut to Bond, who is on vacation with Madeline, like current day Madeline, or not even current day Madeline, 5 years in the past Madeline. So they're on vacation, and Bond needs to say goodbye to Vespa, so he goes to the tomb to pay his last respects. That way he can be like, I'm releasing you, and like I'm moving on. I'm not gonna keep letting this drag me down. And then Blofeld left a bomb there to blow him up, and he assumes that it was Madeline who has something to do with it, because Madeline's dad was Spectre, and when he goes there, there's a little note from Spectre, so the 2 and 2 together figures out It's probably Madeline who did that. So that all. So then hijinks ensue, and there's a car chase and all of that, and there's a car with the gadgets, and that's cool, and so he sends Madeline off, and then we get the title card and Billie Eilish's song, and then it goes to Bond living by the ocean again. And this is where he runs into Billy Magnuson and Felix and Lashana Lynch's 007, whose name is Naomi, but they only ever call her Naomi. She's even credited only as Naomi. They couldn't be bothered to give her a last name. So when I hear the Broccoli say, like, oh, we're not going to make a spinoff about her, kind of believe it. Because they couldn't be bothered to give the character a last name, which seems kind of ridiculous to me. So she goes, they're all there, and Felix and Billy Magnuson's character, whose name I'm forgetting now, is need James Bond's help to track down this Russian scientist who was abducted in a thing by the bad guy, like the badder guy, then Spectre. Then they go to. Then James Bond's like, no, he gets a ride home from Lashana Lynch or Naomi, and then they go back to. And then he goes and meets with Felix. And then they go to Cuba. They use it as a way to, like, kind of like as a thing where we're going to show off our new weapon. They're going to kill Bond. But the weapon is actually like the guy sticks the weapon on, which is like nanobites, nano robots that like go in and like kill people. He sticks it on the Spectre people instead. So then hijinks once again ensue as that happens, and then Ana de Armas and I forgot her character's name, and Bond escape. Now they escape with the Russian scientist after all Spectre has been killed, and they are now on the run. Now, something that I forgot, M is caught up in all of this. He is the one who has been leading the research into this Project Heracles, and and because of that, that's all going on. So now, Bond and this Russian scientist, who I don't think they even give him a name, they just call him Russian scientist all the time. So they get to this boat where Felix and Billy Magnuson are, and it turns out that Billy Magnuson's a spy for the badder guy, and then he shoots Felix, sinks the boat, Bond escapes, but Felix dies, and it was at this moment that I'm like, yeah, this is the last one, and everything's getting recast. It's not just they're recasting Bond, it's everything after this point. They're starting fresh, they're rebooting after this. And so then Bond goes back, gets picked up by a passing trawler on his little life raft, and he gets brought back to England where he meets with M, and is like, what the fuck is going on here? Then he goes to Q, and Q gives him, gets him the information he needs, finds out it's a bioweapon that can track people based on their genetic code, and it also explains why all Spectre died. So now they have to go and ask Blofeld who would be wanting to kill all of Spectre, which is like one of those things where it's like it's a criminal organization, so like it should just be like, I have a list of like 30 enterprising individuals who would love to do this, to take over my operations. Like it's not like I don't like that's just minor concern. So they go, well, obviously he has an enemy. Like, yeah, no shit, he has an enemy. Like, so they go and they're gonna interview him. Now, at this point, Rami Malek resurfaces, and it's like an hour and a half into the movie, and this is the first time we've seen him besides the cold open. We don't even see his face in the cold open. He goes and visits Madeline, who hasn't been seen up until this point, and gives her the bioweapon to kill Blofeld. So naturally, things converge, and Blofeld is visited by both Madeline and Bond at the same time, and Madeline can't do it, but she does touch James Bond, who touches Blofeld in a skirmish, and Blofeld is now dead. Now, at this point, there's still this bioweapon out there, but we don't know what the plan is from here, and neither does anyone in the movie. So, okay, so now we are up to that. Then they go, okay, now we need to track down where this is the next logical step. We gotta figure out where this weapon is going next. So, we gotta figure out where um Billy Magnuson's character went, and Billy Magnuson, went off the grid. But that's the thing. It's like we gotta track him down, and it's like, but like, where is he? Like, they do that beforehand, and it's like, why is this so hard to find? Because the thing is, it's like he's a political appointee in the United States, part of the CIA or some State Department official. Like, that's the backstory that Felix gives him. He is assuming that both Bond and Felix are dead. Like, he sunk the ship. There's no record that Bond would have been picked up or anything. So why is he hiding out? So finding him shouldn't be an issue. And then, like, the turn he takes where it's like, this is a little off the rails. So now we're at this point, and there's so many loose threads still going on. And it's not even like they're doing a good job playing whack-a-mole, trying to catch them all. And so they visit Blofeld. Blofeld's dead, and then they come out, and Blofeld says, "Go ask Madeline. Madeline probably knows where this information is." Before he dies, obviously. So, Bond is like, "All right, fine." So he goes and sees Madeline, and Madeline explains who the guy in the mask is, who Rami Malek is, and why they have to catch him. And it's like they figure out why he is doing what he would be doing in this movie. So they figure out he's on this island in this, not the Sea of Japan, but like north of Japan in disputed territory, up near Russia. And it's like, well, that's where he is. Let's go get him. So they go out to get him, and because he kidnaps. Oh, there's a shootout in the forest. Like, the whole movie is so confusing. Like, but yeah, that, like, the whole thing is just a bunch of threads that don't really make sense, and it's because it's obvious that it's kind of like watching Dark Phoenix. I'm not saying it's as bad as Dark Phoenix, but it's a passable movie, and the action's not bad, and it's like, there are some emotional moments, but it's not as good as Mission Impossible Fallout. Like, that's the bar. Like, that's a pretty high bar, but that's not the bar it clears. So he goes. So, like, the entire thing is, when you take a 2-part movie and consolidate it down to 1 part, there's a considerable amount of cutting you have to do. And this movie could have been a 2-part movie, in the same way that the Snyder Cut of Justice League could have been a 2-part movie. Whereas, like, when you watch that movie, clearly you can cut at the point after they're done in Gotham Harbor, and then call it a day on part 1. Release part 2 after that, and it all will make sense. Part 1 is serviceable, part 2 is serviceable. It's a great movie. This movie was a good idea as 2 movies, where it's like part 1 is entirely leading up to the conflict with Blofeld, and then part 2 is there's someone bigger than Spectre here that we need to stop. And I think that would have been a better way to handle this movie. And either way, it's like we can't change that now. But look, I think that, like, an over-bloated action movie with too many action sequences is a small complaint in the grand scheme of things. Like, look, as long as the action is serviceable, I don't think a lot of people really care about the story, but I think we should. I think that we should demand more of our stories than just, more of our movies than just one thing. It can be multifaceted. We can live in a world where an action movie is both, entertaining and engaging, and it's not just driven by a romantic subplot and dealing with the traditional stakes. Like, there are other ways to do this. Like, I feel like it's a cop-out to have it be like his daughter is the reason that he needs to go to this island to save the world, when, ultimately James Bond making that sacrifice and being the person who can't retire. And if he knew that was what the plot was, or if he interacted with the villain, like, once at all prior to going to this island, I think that's a fallback. That's a down point to like even Spectre, where it's like they don't interact really before the conflict really starts. Where it's like if he interacted once with Rami Malek, that would have made this movie work a little bit better. But then again, we're already at an hour and 2 hours and 45 minutes. But again, just make the movie 2 parts. I know you may have to pay Daniel Craig a lot more money, but in the grand scheme of things, if you're making 2 movies and you're gonna do that, you're already filming 2 hours and 45 minutes worth of footage anyway. If you just shot them back to back and did 2 hour and a half movies, or maybe even hour 45 movies, and added in a few more scenes to make this movie flow a little bit better, it would work. You could have done this as 2 movies and it would have worked fine, and you would have netted a lot more money too. So if you haven't seen No Time to Die yet, I mean, go out and see it. It's a solid entry. I mean, granted, I did also like Spectre, so take that with a grain of salt. Like, and it's a fine movie. It is perfectly fine, perfectly serviceable. Like I said, I just wish it was spread out a little bit more, and that's weird to say for an 2 hour 45 minute movie, but I don't know. I feel like this is like not a misfire, but like it's it could have been a home, like the way this movie ends, for Bond, because again we're spoiling it in this podcast, but Bond dies, and the way that ends off with Bond dying, could have been an excellent send off if everything leading up until that moment wasn't so bloated as like, wait, what's going on now? Where are we going? Who's doing this? What's going on? How is this working? Why are they doing this? Like, if it weren't for that, then I think that this movie would have been a perfect send-off, had this been the part 2 of this visibly 2-part movie. So next week is Halloween Kills, the latest entry into the Halloween franchise. And no new episode of What If this week, because that debacle is finally over. So we will see what else happens next week, and until then, have a great rest of your week. Do you like the show? Do you hate the show? Are you indifferent to the show? No matter what, you should probably let us know what we're doing so we can change it to better suit you, the listener's needs. You can go to either bit.ly/BOScontact, which is a contact form page you can use. Also, you can just email us directly at 30minutereviews@gmail.com. If you have questions that you would like us to answer, we can answer them on the air. We have a few questions every week that will be selected to be answered on air. So if you want to tell us what we should do, or if you have a suggestion for a movie or a TV show or something we should cover, go to bit.ly/BOScontact, and also email us 30minutereviews@gmail.com.